doesn't matter where you are in history, you understand that story, and that story leaves a message with you of like, be careful.
So we're gonna talk about the Pandora's jar. I'm gonna call it in so many different ways.
Pandora's box, that's what it's widely known as, but in Italy it's called something else as well, right?
Yeah, vase or jar.
We both read Joseph Campbell's Hero with a Thousand Faces, and I love the way there were so many stories throughout history that are all entwined, they're all interconnected. The story is quite a familiar one to a lot of people. I think it's quite a common, you've heard about it from school. So Pandora's box is a story of a girl, her curiosity gets the better of her, and she opens a box or vase that she was told to never open, and unleashes all kinds of things. In the very beginning, why was Pandora created?
Pandora is being created because Zeus decided to punish humanity. So Prometheus and his brother Epimetheus, they were fighting with the gods for many, many years. And then they had a very long period of peace, and they call it Golden Age. The population were in peace, and there were abundance, no problems at all. Prometheus decided to give them the possibility to cook, to, create with fire. Was a very strong, element to use. And but Zeus wanted to have the control and being part of humankind's, life, in a sense where they had to beg mercy and everything. So he didn't really like the fact that they had fire. Prometheus stole the fire, so Zeus decided to punish him very bad. He put him in a rock, and a bird was coming and eat his liver. And because he was half god, his liver was growing again, and the bird was keeping eating the liver.
Nasty.
And caused a lot of pain. Yeah, exactly.
It's like those lizards,
dying,
the lizards that have the tail, where you break the tail off, and it just keeps growing back, and you just keep breaking it off.
Exactly. And so Prometheus told Epimetheus to never accept any gift from the gods. Prometheus was the first thought, and Epimetheus was afterthought. Because Epimetheus was afterthought, he decided to move on and with all the problems and accept Zeus' gift that was Pandora.
Was Pandora a punishment then?
So Pandora was, I think, the deliverer of the punishment.
Pandora is bestowed with a ton of different gifts from all the different gods. One of the gifts, curiosity, was given to her by Hera. And obviously within humanity, the reason we've got to this point is because of curiosity in exploration and understanding the world around us. So it is a blessing. Comes with the curiosity is kind of the ability to delve into things that, we don't really know where the limit is on stuff, or where we should say, okay, maybe we shouldn't explore this. Maybe this is a bad idea, because I guess curiosity gets the better of us, and we want to find out for ourselves. You can tell somebody something, but until they see it for themselves, they don't tend to believe you. And now we see a lot of people discussing flat Earth, and that's because they've not seen the Earth from space. So to them, this idea of Earth being a globe which is floating in space is maybe a bit too much to comprehend. So people need to see things for themselves, and I guess that is what draws Pandora towards the box.
She was telling him, Zeus give us this gift for our wedding, and he said never to open it.
Because Zeus was still mad, right?
Very mad. He said, oh, perfect, I'm gonna close in one of my private rooms, and then he forgot about it. And one day, when Epimetheus left her, she was so bored, and she decided to open one of his private rooms, and he was like trusting her. Like in the beginning, he didn't really trust her, but like showing her gift around and be humble and be nice. He decided to open up his palace, and yeah, she was there, and she said, "Oh, just a little
peak.
wooden."
I feel like this is how relationships with guys and girls go generally. Like girls are the mischievous, like the little pixie that kind of dances around and gets the guy in trouble, and then he has to like pick up the pieces.
No. The guys.
No, listen, like guys, like a girl will say, that guy said this thing to me, or that guy's done, he looked at me wrong, and then the guy's like, you know, you're expected to then deal with that, and you're like, for fuck's sake. Like, girls have lots of ideas, they have lots of interesting ideas, but then the guy is like, I've got to put it into practice.
Happen both ways though, eh? Some guys, they are also very controlling, and sometimes they create some problems out of nowhere.
This is true.
I think because we all have different point of view, different stories, and I think, yeah, it's important to open the Pandora's box sometimes. Something else that really drive
A search for meaning.
Further. Yeah, drive further, like create, build, destroy, create, build, destroy. It's just that rhythm. The ancient Greek wanted to describe that dying and living circle of humanity that has to be there, and is part of woman in our circles and our emotions. And one week we are this way, the other week we are in another way, and you never know. It's beautiful because is also connected with, the humanity is connected with nature. We embrace that pain, but also beauty inside of it.
Yeah, it definitely feels like history obviously repeats. Our ways of recording history have improved over the past 130 years, right? Like we have photography, we have cameras, films. Art has always been a way of us recording history, and books, but obviously that leaves a lot to the imagination. But now we're actually able to see the cycles repeating. And I think it's interesting, you talked about the gold standard, the golden age, sorry. But there's a correlation between the golden age or like good periods throughout humanity and the gold standard of currency. So like when our currency is pinned to gold, we go through good periods in history. And then we get greedy, so we come off the gold standard, and we move to a debt system, and then it's great for a bit because everyone can get themselves in debt, they get all the stuff they want. But then the rooster always comes home, right? And you have to get off the train, and that's when things go to shit, basically. And this is what's happened throughout history. Every time in our civilization we've come off the gold, we go through this period of repeating. And we're at the point now, I think, where we have to be very careful because we have so much technology and weapons and ways of killing each other, but we still have this like almost prehistoric mind, which is still very in touch with our surroundings. Things like Pandora's box, these old myths are warnings to us. Like it doesn't matter where you are in history, you understand that story, and that story leaves a message with you of like, be careful.
Also, a memory. Like, I see Pandora's box as subconscious collective memory. Even what we have right now is like a continuous process of somebody that move a little bit, you know, the pendulum or a little bit of the ideas forward, you know, and to even have airplanes to fly, we had like multiple process to get there.
So she opens the box and all of this evil of the world, well, comes into the world basically, because the world was ticking along nicely with just their fire, and suddenly all this evil comes out of the box or vase and covers the earth, and then suddenly the dark side of mankind is released.
And she instantly closed it and she ran away because she was afraid, she was scared about all the sadness and diseases that have came out. And she, like, immediately the globe become dark and everybody was like in a sense of fear and pain and discomfort, and they couldn't find a way to move on. Pandora ran to the gods, begging Zeus to fix everything, and Zeus was he was a little bit smiling. He was like,
Wow.
"Oh, you you create the damage.
Curious
I can't."
little bastard.
Yeah. I cannot fix everything in a club. You have to deal with that like as it is. And
Take your own responsibility. You caused this mess.
Exactly. Take all your responsibility. All human has to live with sorrow, with diseases, with all the pain. And she was so sad. She came back to the palace and she was next to the box and she decided to open it again.
How do you tell your husband, how do you tell Epimetheus that, like, you f***ed up that bad? Like, do you cook him a dinner, you cook him a meal, you get him his favorite wine or whatever, and you're like, so, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's evil everywhere.
I will definitely, like, run away or something. Like, it's like my mom when she hit her car, his car, and she was like so afraid of him talking about it and everything.
I did this my first day back after traveling, and you know I'm trying to like resettle. My first day, I reversed my mom's car into someone else's car. Like, come
That's
on,
it.
man.
Too much energy from India to come.
Well, in India, you just drive off, you didn't care. But here, it's like everybody saw everybody.
And everybody was laughing at you.
Oh, no. They're like waiting to see your reaction. So you have to write a note. Sorry. Some fake insurance details.
Oh, yeah, she came back to the palace and she decided to open again the box because I don't know, something inside her decided to open it again, and she found hope, like, that was stuck on the bottom of the vase, or the jug or box, if you want to call it. And she released it, and immediately something warm filled her heart and the heart of humanity. And that's why I think we, like, even though all the despair and discomfort that we live through, the drama, everything that we have in our lives that creates a lot of pain, underneath we know that we can move on, we can find a way, we can find ideas, solution, and hope to get where we want to go.
Maybe we explore things that aren't always good for us. But with that also comes exploration of things that do benefit us as a species. From the atomic bomb, we've got nuclear power stations. Whether you think that's good or bad, it's still a solution that we didn't have before. The hope for me is that silver lining that whatever we're doing, there's always two sides to every coin.
And both are connected. That's why we can't have one without the other.
I like the fact in the story, her curiosity still got the better of her after, she's just unleashed this cloud of evil into the world. Scared, she goes to the gods, but then after that, she still has the curiosity within her to have another look. In that second look, she sees that the hope that, that we all have to face. Any dark time in anybody's life is a challenge. It's how you see that challenge and how you deal with it that you can gain from difficult times, become stronger.
And also Zeus had another purpose of it, because he wants the humanity to beg for God and to ask them again and pray for them as they used to. And with despair, discomfort, we have to kind of look up in a way. If you believe in one God or 10 gods or a million of gods like Hinduism, like there is so many stories trying to look up on something greater or like bigger, because you never know. Like there is, if you believe in destiny or not, there is something beyond your imagination, beyond your control, that always change the reality that you are in.
Have you seen Oppenheimer?
No, I didn't.
No, you should watch it. It's a good film. And I think it's very much connected to the Pandora's vase or Pandora's box. Because in that film, obviously they're racing to understand fusing the atoms, right? In doing so, there's a point in the film where one of the scientists kind of pulls everyone aside and he's just like, there is a very small chance that when they set off the nuclear bomb, it actually ignites it starts a chain reaction and ignites the atmosphere. So the bomb explodes, but then the whole atmosphere of the planet could potentially set on fire. And there was, mathematically, there was a small chance that this could happen. Those scientists, their curiosity overrid that percentage of risk, and they said, right, we're going to do it anyway, because if we don't do it, someone else is going to do it. You took humanity in the hands there, and I don't know whether it was a power thing or just the need to do that before another race did it, but we very much play with fire, and maybe this is why Zeus was annoyed.
It's a very powerful weapon.
It's how we use these tools, right? It's like fire gives us cooked food, it gives us heat and warmth, and there's everything around us is based on fire, the process in which things are created, like metal, there is risk with all that.
And we have to master that. We have to learn how to deal with that.
Now we have all this technology. Do you think humanity needs to become more ethical? Is that the next stage of our evolution?
There is a lot of more knowledge that has to be unfolded, because we have a lot of information that are wrong information or not really useful, and there is a lot of other information, knowledge beyond our comprehension. Like every country has their own knowledge and structure because they are in that way. And I think the ability to really understand the deeper where their knowledge and how can we use them and incorporate them in our lives more and more, and instead of reaching kind of a future that is very anesthetic, is very, very, I don't know, kind of too minimalistic. I don't know how to explain it. There is so much that they don't take into consideration that is part of everything. Human beings, their knowledge, their potential, that can be a very big resource instead of like trying to build a massive
I think-
building.
I think a lot of this comes down to competition. Like in my view, it's like like Alan Watts said, you know, we've got speed now. Like everything's done fast, you know, because we're racing against everyone else to make this thing first or build the biggest building. And like we're doing things to compete with everyone instead of working with, you know. And because I believe like humanity will eventually become like a global, it already is, it's a global species, right? Like we're all the same, we just have different views and different ideologies. But if we could eventually evolve consciously to a point where we can understand, like it's tolerance basically for me. It's like having tolerance for people that are different, but that's okay. You do things differently, but we need to learn to work together.
I think it's also beliefs. There is a very strong beliefs. Like religion is one of the biggest, you know, that have created so much fight, so much division through history. In this generation that has no God, for example, like this is a lot of philosophers, they've been saying that we live in an era with no God, and our God is the machine. And we live in a period of technology only, and if you do things in a rhythm of and with technology, you can be part of the system. If you cannot, you're out. You don't have a space, and this is dangerous, really, really scary, because doesn't allow the human potential to really express itself. And I'm not against AI because I think it's a beautiful tool, but we have to use them properly and we have to integrate ourselves, because we have a lot of possibility, but we have to manage the resources that has to be allowed to touch everybody.
It's the same thing. I went to jiu-jitsu the other night and they made me, like I left my phone in the car because I don't need it, you know, and then I turn up and she's like, oh no, you need to download this app and then you need to like sign up for a class even though I'm there and all this. And it's like, it's an extra step for everything, you know, and it's like before phones, it's because they want your data basically, right? It's like you have to sign up for this or do this so they have some kind of connection to you. Because if you walk in and walk out, there's no connection. It's like, okay, it's like you were never here, or they want to gain something from you. So
that came out after the pandemic.
Yes.
I remember when I was in Italy and we went for like event, and it was like a random event. And I used to go in so many events without, you know, writing my name or uploading or something or register anything. I was just showing up, and
it could be spontaneous.
Yeah, it can be spontaneous. They don't like spontaneous things anymore, and now it's all about like you have to write everything. You have to download apps or something. Like it's all being on data right now.
Well, this I found with traveling, everywhere you get a SIM card, you have to sign up with your passport. And it's quite like in India especially, it's quite a process to just get a phone number. But like, why do you need, for your phone, why do you need to show ID to have access to a phone, like a tool? You know, like it's not a gun, it's a phone.
Because it's powerful.
Yeah,
they know
exactly.
It's power. Everything is basically power, even though what we eat, you know, being consuming certain things all day, every day, and our power or energy goes somewhere. Like if I drink a certain brand, okay, I don't want to say that brand, every day, like for 5 years, they have a certain amount of money coming from me. And they use that money in a certain way. And if we just adjust those things, and instead of give power to something that doesn't really empower us in the first place. Yeah, it's like through the phone as well, like it is very connected. It's connected with database, it's connected with the system, we use it, and even connecting our phone with different Wi-Fi that are free. They can download important information from us. And it's still new.
Like you have access to all kinds of information now as well, right? So it almost puts power back in your hands that if a police officer says, you need to do that, you go, okay, no, I don't, because the law says this. It's very much, it helps us, but it also, I think, the way it's being used now, it takes away our freedoms because like you're being tracked everywhere you go, everything you're doing.
In my point of view, is always a transaction. Whatever you do, wherever you go, wherever you meet, any kind of relationship you have, there is always something that you give and they give you.
I guess another one of those kind of Pandora box things unleashed is social media. 10 years ago, it was kind of fun. You know, you signed up to Facebook and, you know, you could be in touch with all your friends and everybody's communicating. And right back from when the internet first started, do you remember MSN?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah, like after school, we just go sit there and like you just chat to random pedophiles probably online. And that's what you did. You know? And it was great. The social media has gone from being this kind of like interesting little thing to do where everybody connects to one another to like advertising. Everything you do is either making money or advertising, you know? And even like I sent you the video with the NPC TikTok things, right? Like I'm like morbidly fascinated by them because I look at that and I think, wow, like the human race has degenerated so far, you know, but people don't care because this girl makes like $7,000 a day just from like pretending to eat ice cream. You watch these videos and there's always a link to the OnlyFans or whatever, right? Because that's it's like one channel into another. But then
it's prostitution.
It's prostitution. Exactly, but like one person becomes very popular with it, so then everyone tries it. It's like trends, right? It's like there's just these different trends that keep popping up. But I don't know. I feel like you could definitely control people with, you know, you orchestrate some like trends like these NPC. Like, okay, let's think of like some dodgy trends we could start. You get a gun and you shoot a girl with a water pistol, right? And the viewer shoots the water pistol, so she's getting wet, right? God, like we should make this now. Like people, it's probably already out there to be fair, but like people for sex, right? People will do like they will just chuck money at things.
Not like even like a woman like dress that she was like sweating in it. They sell it.
Oh.
Yeah, like things are getting out of control. So
but
let's not dive in there.
Back to Pandora's box.
Because Pandora's box is basically the subconscious. It's the subconscious is open up. And we have the same situation right now. And I see that there is no fear, or very less. Everything is open, without rules, without any control of it. And it's very dangerous because the kids are there. Like everybody, not only adults. And I think adults and kids, I think until 25-ish, I think certain things shouldn't be allowed. Like completely, not even advertising. Some advertising, and I'm a graphic designer, some advertising shouldn't be allowed. Is very, very strong, very, very manipulative. So
it's powerful, isn't it? It's like any imagery
powerful.
you see is stored in your brain. So like whatever is in front of you.
If you want it or not. if you want it or not, are there.
And it's exposure, you know. So if you see something enough, eventually it's gonna be marked in your mind, and you're gonna go, oh yeah, maybe I do need that thing, right? It's like the oldest tactic, you know. You just keep hassling people or messaging, you know, like the end of days kind of priest, which is like the world's gonna end. And if enough people tell you the world's gonna end, eventually you're gonna go, oh yeah.
Even the bad behavior from your parents, because, for example, my father used to drink something really bad. I don't want to say the name. Every day with a lot of sugar in it on the table after lunch, okay? And for him, it was something new that he didn't know about it, okay? But because I grew up there, at the time it was normal. You were seeing that in every movie, do you remember? And that was crazy, and now it's kind of normal, but we're trying to adjust that.
Your reactions don't just affect you, right? Like your decisions and your reactions don't just affect you. It's all those around you. So that's why it's important for us to be aware, you know, and to have respect for other people, you know. It's like some people don't want to see something that you may think is normal. You need to understand, and this is the same with pride, and we won't talk too much about it, but it's like you're forcing your view or your belief on somebody else, and they're going to reject it because it's being done with force. You know, you've not caught their interest. You're saying, hey, this is what you should think. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.